Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. So last night I did a short video on the Crom intra-club game, and it actually got a pretty good response, which I wasn't expecting, like by this channel's low standards anyway. But I decided to do another one today because they're quick and throwaway. So yeah, the Geelong preview that I've been talking about, it is still coming. I'll probably get that one out late tonight or something like that. But yeah, I just thought I'd get this one out first. So obviously I watched the game today, the Bulldogs versus Essendon trial, and it wasn't a good game at all to watch, as most trials usually aren't, but this one in particular was pretty horrible. I only watched the first half and I struggled to get through that even. So yeah, if that tells you anything about how horrendous it is, when just last night I was talking about footy starved and really excited to watch anything, yeah, this was terrible. So it looks to be a very long season ahead for the Essendon fans, I think. So it's not good for them. Even though the scores were pretty even in this game, and I think it was kept down because it bucketed down in the second quarter, but Essendon's foot skills were absolutely horrendous from word go. And keep in mind, this was in a practice game, so the pressure is lower than the real things. You know, it's a lot less congested and stuff like that. So a lot of kicking long and just like hoping, I think, particularly down the boundary. Whereas the Dogs still look to be playing that shorter possession game and more down the middle, which we know is Supercoach friendly from the previous years when they've done it. So I'll start with the Essendon players. It looked like Merritt, Caldwell, Hobbs and even McGrath got a few CBAs. Sardis as well. I think he actually had the most, it looked like. But he was like Peatling last night, so his disposal just let him down, even though he had a lot of it. And I guess that's a worry because that's kind of what kept him out of the team last year, I've heard. But yeah, if he can keep getting those bulk minutes like he did today, though, he should score well enough to be a good pick. So I've got him in my team. Reid looked decent down back, but we know that when he plays, he looks decent. It's just a matter of whether he can stay fit or not. And he didn't get injured today, so that was really good. Hopefully he can continue that in the next game or however many they have left. Brian did the majority of the ruck work, I think. It looked like it to me from the naked eye. Draper mostly was forward, and to be honest, when Draper did go in the ruck, he looked pretty good. So I'm still unsure what's going to happen there. I don't think you could really pick Brian knowing that Draper is in the shadows. Yeah, especially since it seemed like when English went in the ruck, Draper would be the one to go against him, and then it was Brian when Crossley was in there. That kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it really. Like, will English play forward more because there's no Jamara to start the year? I don't know. I'll probably get to that later. Shill looks to have taken the Seagull half-back role that Martin had last year, and he got enough of the ball, like enough cheap kicks and all that. And although I don't think he actually turned it over much, his kicking looks really loopy, and it just like they float the kicks. So that's pretty dangerous, I think, once it gets to the real thing. So is he even a pick? Like, surely not. But you know, we know that role, it can score well. So you know, there's other issues with him, but yeah, I couldn't really see where Martin was starting. But he just followed the ball as he pleased. So I think that's going to be how he plays this year. No matter where he starts, he'll just end up as like that extra mid or whatever he wants to do. Kako had good intensity and pressure around the ball, but I didn't see anything that would translate to good Supercoach scoring, unfortunately. So he's still a watch for now. Like, anything could happen. He's probably got decent job security, but that's about it for now. El Hawley or El Hawali or whatever the commentator was calling him, he was on the wing, and I didn't notice him get a lot of the ball. He seemed to be stuck in no man's land a lot, which we know can happen on the wing. I guess got to keep in mind that Durham didn't play, and it sounds like he could get that wing spot. So I don't know what that means for El Hawley or El Hawali. I think he's got the sub written all over him, to be honest. So yeah, that's not ideal at all. Redmond took the majority of kick-ins, and I saw Shill get a couple as well. So, you know, if you do think Shill's a pick, well, there's some free points that he might get. Don't think Redmond's a pick, though. So in the time that I watched, I saw Perkins get 2 goals and Kako and Caddy get the singles. Not that that's really important or anything, but you know. So I'm not really sure what the setup was in terms of, like, were they playing their first team in the first half? Because then some others joined in the second half. But one of the weird ones was that Peter Wright. No, I didn't actually watch it, but like I just saw who come out after half time, and Peter Wright was one that come out like for the second half. So surely they're not favouring Draper over him as the full forward. Like, just I think sack Scott now if that's the case. Anyway, I'm not here for that kind of talk anyway, sorry. But so now I go on to the Dogs. Now they were without Bont, Libber and Chalor, who's obviously injured. So, you know, we can't take too much from today's CBA spread, especially without those three. But it was mostly Richards, Sanders, Garcia and Kennedy. So I hope Bevo keeps Sanders in there once the others are back, because he looked really good and he found a lot of appeal too. And I want to pick him, so, you know, I'm biased. Davidson, he seems to be a pretty popular forward option lately. This was even before today's game. He looks fieldable, to be honest. Like, he was on the wing, but he definitely looked comfortable at the level. And we already know from past years that wingers for the Dogs, they can score fine because of that possession style that I mentioned earlier. And yeah, Bevo loves a good VFL project. Fraser was everywhere early. I think he may have quietened down a bit later on, but keep in mind that Dale wasn't playing, so yeah, I think he had that spot like on the half back. He did look really good. Even if he did get a friendly role, I guess he's just so awkwardly priced. I think he's like 350k or something like that. So yeah, it's not good when you know that Dale is around. If you haven't worked out already as well, the Dogs were more undermanned, I would say, than Essendon were. So that's another bad sign for Essendon. Lobb intercepted a lot in defence, but you know, he's not going to play a bomb-happy Essendon every week, excuse the pun. And again, I think Brad Scott's got a lot of work on his hands there, like to get them to stop doing that. Unless that's what he's telling him to do, then that's really bad as a coach, I think. But yeah, Lobb, I don't think he's a pick. I didn't see Buslinger while we're in defence. I think he come out after half time. I'm not entirely sure. Still, I don't think that's a great sign that he didn't play the first half. So I think Bevo, just based on that, it looks like he's favouring Karmas and Lobb as the two key defenders. That's just if the first half was the preferred team though, and I think it was just looking at it. Darcy was impossible in the air, like impossible to beat up forward. He kicked one goal too from what I saw, but I think the breakout looks on. Like, there's not many defenders out there, I think, who are going to be able to stop him aerially. So he's definitely a forward option. Like, I'm not saying go and pick him, but definitely keep an eye on him, and he's worth considering. The last guy I'll talk about from the Dogs, he's not even on the list yet, but I think after today's performance, I'm guessing it won't be long until he is. So it's Big Crossley. Now, we've seen him before. He used to play for the Suns and whatever. And he's just really bloody strong by the look of it. Like, kind of, think of like a Shane Mumford type. So without Jamara, it looks like English might spend more time forward to start the year, if today was anything to go by. But it makes me think, could Bevo play the two rucks and Darcy and Lobb without it affecting balance? That's like 4, ruck-sized players. So I don't know, like, it's Bevo after all, so there's no point really trying to predict what he's going to do. But Crossley could be a good rookie option if he does get that spot and he's added to the game. But there's a lot of what ifs to go before that happens. So the goal scorers that I saw for the Dogs were Richards with 2 out of the midfield, so that's pretty good. Darcy with 1 goal, 2, and unfortunately the 2 he missed were pretty easy shots. And Norton with 1. So yeah, it was low scoring on both sides. And it was, as I said before, it was an absolutely terrible game to watch, especially when it pissed down in the second quarter. But look, at least it gave us some kind of info here. So let me know in the comments if you did watch the game and you noticed anything else here that I didn't really take note of. Do these games change your opinion on certain players? Like, let me know. I know it's hard to ignore stuff like this, but you kind of just got to keep telling yourself to back your research in and only watch for role, job security, game time, and stuff like that in these games. Otherwise, we see it every year. People get led down a pretty bad path, I think, by paying too much attention to this stuff. Anyway, I better finish that Geelong video at some point. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that video.